Hello, everyone. It's Anthony Bandiero here, attorney and senior legal instructor for Blue Gold Law Enforcement Training, bringing you another roadside chat. This question comes from an officer in Texas who works at a university. So basically, the question is, can a person be detained in order to identify themselves if they're on a Texas, university and so forth? Now, usually they're saying, the cop is saying, usually we'll get consent. Hey, can I, if we don't know if they belong there, right? If they're not a student, a teacher, and so forth, or a vendor, hey, what are you doing here, right? Can I see some ID? And sometimes they'll say no. And it seems to me that it seems to this officer that there is a law that requires them to identify themselves and so forth. Okay, so here's the law, right? Texas Education Code 51.209, unauthorized persons, refusal of entry, ejection, identification. And it says that the governing board of an institution of higher education or a private or independent institution of higher education or the governing board's authorized representative may refuse to allow persons having no legitimate business to enter on property under the board's control and may eject an undesirable person from the property on the person's refusal to leave peacefully on request. Identification may be required of any person on the property, and the person must provide that identification on request. Okay, so it's a good question, right? But let's try to read this law in context with the Fourth Amendment. Now, it says here that if the person is doesn't have any business to be done with the university and they're told to leave, they have to leave, right? If they don't leave, they're committing a violation of this law. I think that all makes sense. That's a good old-fashioned trespassing argument. But what about this ID, right? So you go up to me and I could be a student, right? And you say, hey, sir, I just want to make sure, only students are allowed here. Are you a student? And I say, yes. And you say, can I see some ID, some student ID or something like that? And I say, I'm not showing you my ID. Can you arrest me at that point? I don't read the law to be that strict. I think in context, and I think the intent of this law is that the identification is helping you prove that they are not an undesirable, right? I'm being kind of funny here. They're lawfully allowed to be there. I do believe you have the right, based on this law, to confirm that they are legitimately on premises. And the ID is there to help you fulfill that mission. If I do not want to help prove that I belong there, right? We're not, and you're using good judgment here, right? I mean, if I have a backpack full of books and I'm heading right into the classroom and and everybody's like, hey, Anthony, you're late for class, I think you should probably leave me alone, right? But if you have reason to believe that I don't belong there and I'm just kind of just hanging out and I don't want to give you my ID and I'm willing to leave, I think that's what the law wants you to do. I don't think we want people arrested because they just won't give you the ID when you have nothing specific about them about committing any crime yet, right? In other words, they are willing to leave if they don't want to show their ID. I think that's consistent with U.S. Supreme Court case, right? There's a case called Nevada versus Heibel, where this guy named Heibel was suspected of being involved in a domestic violence investigation. He did not want to give his identification during that investigation. Nevada law required that he give identification while detained for reasonable suspicion. The U.S. Supreme Court upheld that being the target of an investigation and having a law that requires identification would allow you to arrest that person for failing to identify. However, if you read the case, Heibel was a criminal suspect. Here, all we have is a person walking through a school who does not want to identify themselves and presumably are willing to leave. If they're willing to leave, then I don't think you have anything else to go on and you should just let them leave. You should not arrest them for this failing to identify. That's what I would do. At the same time, I'm not your attorney. I don't have a lot of experience with this particular law. I'm just reading it and trying to give you my impression about what the law requires and what it would allow. But I'm sure that other people smarter than me know this law better. If you would like to give your 2 cents in the comments below, please do. At the end of the day, I'm trying to help you guys get it right every single time. If you like what I'm doing here, like, subscribe, share with their friends. Until next time, my friends, you stay safe.